Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I have another Korean textbook review for you guys. This time it is the Ewha book series. Right now I only have this one from them. They have like, I think maybe 6 different levels, and there's 2 books for each level. So there's a 1-1 and then there's a 1-2 and then 2-1, 2-2. I was influenced by someone on YouTube to get this because I was just looking for resources, and there's one person that I felt was like really good at speaking Korean. She was raving about these books, basically saying they're like one of the best series or whatever. So I purchased it. If you remember when I did my first like Korean learning video way back in November, I was using this book and just finished it like, yesterday. Today is May 31st. Yeah. That's because I actually stopped using this book right after that first video. And I'll get to that reason why in a second. But then I did come back to it after I finished Learn Korean with BTS. Decided to go back to it since, you know, I had the book. So let's first look at the layout. Alright, so they do kind of tell you what to expect in each chapter, like the composition of the unit. So, unit cover page, part 1 and part 2, like for preparation and speaking. So it gives you like 2 to 3 grammar points and vocabulary. And then the speaking section gives you practice in speaking and includes speaking tasks. Right, part 3, that consists of learning, reading, or listening, reading, and writing. And then there's a culture and literature part. Right, so they have like characters kind of similar, or I guess Learn Korean with BTS is similar because obviously I'm pretty sure this was made before, but they have like characters that you're following. Ewha Language Center, so technically I think this is a textbook that you're supposed to use in the classroom, not so much for self-study. So this is kind of like what you would see in a true beginner, but as you can see, it's not a lot. Like, there are whole books for like beginners, and this is just kind of like I feel like this would be like a refresher. But yeah, that's chapter 1. So let's go somewhere like in the middle chapter. Alright, here we go. So as you can see, it tells you the parts and what you'll be doing in each part. Alright, so here is actually not, it didn't come with the CD. There are MP3 files you can download. They'll kind of give you just a brief introduction, tell you what's happening in the situation, grammar point, vocabulary, and then this is a practice. More practice, listening. So with the listening, they only speak like the things in bold once. So they'll go over that, and then they will do the example, and then they go over vocabulary, and that's it. So if you notice, like this is a grammar point, and that's basically all they tell you. And then they want you to follow the example and use these to help you basically following that. Another grammar point. That's all for the explanation. Practice. Vocabulary. More vocabulary. But no exact translation. But they do have pictures. So this one you're supposed to try it and come up with the dialogue. So this is basically the dialogue right here. And you can listen to it. Vocabulary. Another grammar point. That's the explanation. And then they want you to practice. another grammar point. Explanation. Practice. So that's kind of basically the format throughout. Another listening. And then actual, this is the exercise. Yeah. So you listen and then either yes, that's what they said, or no, that's not what they said. Similar listening and practice. And then the culture. And that's the format of a chapter. So, if you notice, not a lot of explanation. Also, for like the practice, like here, there's no answer key for that in this book. They do have the answer key for this part. That's at the end of like every chapter. That's the only answer key that they have for each chapter. Yeah. So that's the answer key. And that's it. So this book right here was $17. There's 7 chapters. Is it worth it? You would have to decide that for yourself. The reason why I stopped using it is because I didn't feel like this was for a true beginner. If you're just starting to learn Korean, don't purchase this book. This book by itself is not a good resource by itself. So you would need to get the study guide to go with it, because this by itself is, no. You need both of these together, but you have to purchase them separately, but it's not that expensive. Like I said, this was $17, this was $11, but it was from a Korean store, so you have to think about shipping and stuff. Because I did find a store in the US and it was a little more expensive. I think this was like $22. The actual textbook was $22. The study guide gives more explanation and example and more stuff in English, because if you notice, there wasn't a lot of English in there. Also, it includes the answer key, so yeah, you don't kind of need this to go with it. And then they also have the script or the dialogue in English as well, so that could be helpful. Like if you want to first try and see if you know what they're saying, and then check to see if it's correct, that could work. Yeah, so you definitely would need both of these together if you're doing self-study. Like I said before though, I'm pretty sure this is a textbook for an actual class. So obviously if you're in class with the teacher, they can tell you if the answer is correct. That's also where there's like practice, because you're supposed to be with the classmate and practice. They also have a workbook as well. $11, I believe these two are $11. Workbook includes a lot of practice exercise, going over what you learn in the chapter. So if you notice, this is pretty much very similar to that one picture, and they basically tell you what word to use. This is for chapter 4 that we looked at in the textbook. So as you can see, a lot of extra practice. It includes listening. These are separate audio files that you have to download, but it's not a lot. And then normally I'm writing. So like extra practice, I feel like if you feel like you need extra practice, you definitely should get this as well. And it does have the answer key in the back for everything. Yeah. So I don't feel like this is for a beginner. I would say maybe someone who mid-beginner. That is my review and opinion of the Ewha series. Again, hopefully that gave you some idea of the book format, layout, if you're interested in purchasing it. I will put down 2 links below where you can get this book from if you're interested. And that will be it for this review. I do plan to get at least the next level, like 1-2. I don't know if I would continue after that, but I have some other books that I want to get through first. Well, really one more series that I want to get through first, and the other books, like they're in conjunction with some classes I'm taking, so I'm not too concerned about finishing those yet. But I do have another book series that I want to finish first, and then I'll go back and get these. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video.